very good day to you. Welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jadiel, Kabiro. It's always a pleasure to have you for our political conversations that I usually say I hope will be able to build this country even as we're progressing towards this year's general elections. Just as always, I'm joined by Herman Manyora, sir. How are you doing today?
Good.
Just fine.
Yeah.
So much is happening in the country, and this week Kenya Kwanza has been on the spotlight. Their power sharing agreement leaked to the public. When you looked at that agreement, some of the things that were being introduced, including the prime cabinet secretary that was to be given to ANC party leader through an executive order, how practical is it for them to reach that 70% that was talk of the country throughout the week? How practical is it for Musalia Mudavadi?
It is practical only in dreams. If you are dreaming, then you can think you can get 70. There's no way.
There's no way.
Under no circumstance can he get 70, even if he's the one running.
So if this is an agreement you
He's
made,
running against Raila, he can get 70%.
even if it's him, the
Yes.
Aluya standing in Mulembe Nation.
And even worse, even if he's, let's say a situation like, instead of Ruto going his own and Uhuru supporting Raila, supposing Uhuru and Ruto decided to support Mudavadi, he will be a very formidable candidate.
Yeah.
But running against Raila, even in that kind of situation, he'll still not manage 70.
So you think he will not be able to get that seat?
No,
if
no,
that
no.
is part
They
of
are
the
saying
agreement?
it's not true, so you can't know.
So
People are saying just rumors, but it can't be. It's not possible. It's not anything you can do.
how then would you think about this prime cabinet secretary introduction of it? Some say Ruto is reviving BBI. Is this? Do you read from the same script? Is this
The main
BBI
attack against BBI was the issue of prime minister. That's the main attack Ruto had. I mean, the whole campaign was centered on bastardizing BBI on account of it creating positions, especially prime minister, and they kept mentioning. But now they are putting it right there.
They're saying the prime minister's position is going to be introduced.
Yeah,
And
now
how does it look for
Uhuru and
Ruto?
Raila wanted to introduce it using a democratic process of involving the people through a referendum.
Yeah.
This was BBI.
Yeah.
He wants to use Kifua, executive order.
Oh.
But the bigger problem is you can't see this hypocrisy and the contradictions. Because you vilified BBI and Raila and Ruto so much, only to come back and do the same thing they were doing.
Because what he says
They were
is,
suggesting.
he's saying even the one man, one vote, one shilling thing, he can also introduce it without going through the whole building bridges thing.
Which
without using
means
50 billion Kenyan
basically
shillings.
two of the biggest things within BBI, he wants to implement them. One through an executive order, through another one through legislation.
But don't you think it looks good?
Or executive
order. Don't you think it looks good for him when he says those people just wanted to misuse the money that you pay through tax, and now I'm going to just give you all these things that you wanted in a very simple and practical way.
Jadiel, do not underrate the significant number of people who are not foolish in this country. The people who are that stupid are not as many as Ruto might want to imagine. People can see it. Look,
what is
you said the problem, this problem was creating positions. You are creating them. You said you don't want this thing, now you are saying it's so real. You think Kenyans are fools. They're not fools.
But when you look at the Jubilee's Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni, he says that Ruto committed an economic genocide. He called it that. 53.4 billion was going to go to the Mount Kenya people. According to him, it's an economical genocide.
Yes.
Is this looking good? Will people believe Ruto when he comes and says, yes, I still have your interests at heart as the Mount Kenya people, and I'm going to deliver this for you?
But it depends on how the other side now builds their own narratives. For example, I was saying, the best person to take this narrative now, this doublespeak, this hypocrisy, this contradiction, and run away with it on behalf of Azimio is the President Uhuru Kenyatta.
He should come out and speak about it.
On media. Like there's a time he did an interview with all the Koyo speaking radio stations, FM stations.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it was also aired on Inoro TV and I think.
Even Citizen took it interpreting it and all those things.
If he did that in a cool way, he will break Ruto. So you see, you people, you thought I was mad. This man I went with it twice, you see. This man we looked votes with. against Raila, who is a formidable person. We didn't sleep. He plays such an important role. How would I just have deserted him? But now you can see, this is the kind of man I'm dealing with.
It's all about double speak, according to you.
Yeah, look at this kind of person now. We are doing something good for the country. Just because he wants to be president, he rubbishes it and stands in the way of implementing something that would have been good for the Mount Kenya people. Now, as it turns out, he had nothing against it.
But
Look at how much time we have wasted. Look at such a good idea that would have benefited you people of Mount Kenya. And he made us lose it. Because I wanted to put these things in place before I left State House.
Okay.
In the interest of my people. Now, look, he's coming back. He can now give you.
But some would say,
Can you believe such
if
a person?
Uhuru really wanted to help the mountain people, some would say if Uhuru needed to deal with this tribalism thing, he could have put the executive order, as Ruto is trying to say, I'm going to put the Prime Minister's position, I'm going to, through legislation, bring the one vote, one man, one shilling kind of thing. Why didn't Uhuru do that if he's really sincere with helping Kenyans?
I think Uhuru and Raila wanted this thing do it through the people. Because these are changes, these are far-reaching changes. These are changes that will be felt in many years to come. You don't want people to say Raila and Uhuru sat in one corner and they brought changes. In fact, this BBI would have just gone through Parliament. And all this noise in the High Court would not have been there. Some people get confused. A constitutional amendment can be done in Parliament.
Yeah.
Parliament will do it.
Yeah.
And when it reaches to the president, then the president says this requires a referendum. And then it's taken to the people. At that time, all the arguments in court would have melted. All of them.
Yeah.
All the arguments would have melted.
Why not go through that?
Apart from maybe constituencies or what. So it was very easy for one. Some of these changes would have been done administratively. Some of the changes would have been brought through normal, ordinary legislation and assented to by the president without taking to referendum.
Yeah.
Still, even those that required referendum, and it was debatable whether actually there was anything in this BBI that required
a referendum.
It is debatable.
Yeah.
Some lawyers say there's nothing.
Okay.
And you really have to look hard to look for it.
Yeah.
I also tried.
Even the constituencies, increase of constituencies, different part.
I'm telling you, it's almost nothing.
Debatable.
Yeah, everything was debatable.
Yeah.
So, or they would have removed those which were very obvious.
Okay.
And then Parliament passes, it goes to the president, who then takes it to the IBC for a referendum on account of touching on certain clauses, 251, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But he didn't do that. And I kept asking myself why. The answer that I could possibly think of was they wanted this thing to come from the people themselves. Yes.
It's all about democracy, according to them.
The people themselves.
Don't want to impose.
And now Ruto stood in the way. They campaigned so hard in ways we may not discuss here. We may be summoned to the Supreme Court or elsewhere.
Yeah.
And they had their way up to a point.
Okay.
Now, they are coming back to say they want to do the same things. You know, it is so irritating. I'm saying the person who can put this thing to the people of Mount Kenya is Uhuru Kenyatta. So in a formal forum like a media address, a 1-hour media discussion, like he did with those in Gekoyo, it will demolish Ruto.
Is that where we're heading? Because even I don't think Raila spoke about it intensively. It's Junet who spoke about
but
it.
It's not coming out properly.
In Jubilee, it is
they are not demolishing them. Because if you flipped the thing and gave Ruto such a thing, my friend, the way you run away with it, you'll go and hide.
Do you think it's high time Uhuru comes to help and helps Azimio? Because
it has to be in a way, I'm saying, not just helping. You must time. And I've looked at this Ruto, this misstep from Ruto, the double speak, the hypocrisy. And I've figured out the only person who can do it with effect, maximum effect, is Uhuru Kenyatta.
None else.
Call Gekoyo speaking radio stations with the Inoro and put it on Citizen and those
just translations.
And tell people, you thought I was mad to abandon a man like this I've suffered with. There must have been some. Now you can see for yourself. This is the man.
Suna MP Junet Mohammed came out and said this is conmanship. You know, Deputy President William Ruto, when he was starting, he spoke of the government, his government being for Mama Mboga, being for Wananchi.
Yes.
Is this simply talk, or is there something the Deputy President could have made in his power sharing agreement to show the inclusiveness of people?
But I don't
Is this
think,
just talk?
I don't think you need to put Mama Mboga there for the government to solve Mama Mboga.
Yeah.
Let's be fair to Ruto.
These are just
This is
representatives.
just,
Do you think?
But government, you can form government that has representation. Not necessarily of Mama Mboga,
Yeah.
but going outside. You know, these leaders are short-sighted. Yeah?
Yeah.
They are short-sighted. They never see beyond a certain circle. They do inbreeding, cross-breeding. When it comes to formation of government, Uhuru does not look beyond certain circles. Mwai Kibaki before him never looked beyond. Raila will not look beyond certain circles. Ruto will not look beyond. Same people. They cannot come to Manyora and give him a ministry.
But
Because they can't see me. They are short-sighted.
they only see those.
Those is inbreeding. So if you are serious about Mama Mboga, you don't have to bring a Mama Mboga there. But you can step out of this circle and bring new blood, new people that we cannot trace to Nyachai. Because if Matiang'i comes as a new person, but we can trace him to Nyachai, for example. You may hear a new name you have never heard, but if you do simple search, it takes you to somebody.
Okay.
You must go beyond that. And there are people also who interact with the people, who understand. You know, if you listen to people talk, if you move around and scout for people, you'll get people say, this Manyora knows about Kabiro. He knows about life. In a way, many of us up there don't know. Let's give him a ministry. If you do that, then I will not fault you for not putting in about a border person.
Now the question of...
But also don't forget, there are border operators who have degrees, even more than one.
Okay.
Border. I have people who come to me to talk to me, and they are educated. There are students I've taught at the university, Matatu. There are people with there's a young man in charge of touts, conductors, whatever they call themselves in the whole country. He's a friend of mine. He's just a degree holder. So even if you are even Yamakima, if you go to Gikomba, Mitumba people, there are people there with degrees if you are looking for degrees. So if you are serious, yes, you can get.
Looking lastly, as we finish up the conversation,
Yes.
the question on Mount Kenya. Obviously, the Deputy President, his running mate was to come from the Mount Kenya region. Is this supposed to be enough? Because when you look at what ANC and Ford Kenya got in terms of what they'll be given in the government, ambassadorial positions, CSS, even power leader, Governor Kingi, looking at what they got, what is the place for Mount Kenya? And the big question that even Kabogo asked is there a Mount Kenya room within the government, if not for the DP's position?
You know, the problem is simple. Mount Kenya thought they owned the UDA, and therefore they were going to own the Ruto government and own Ruto himself. But now that he has invited so many people, that ownership is no longer in place. And I'm telling you, they are looking at options. We have discussed some of those options here. You wait and see. You'll see.
Will they be with Ruto till the end? Because that is probably something
if
people
Kikuyus
want
were
to
to
know.
remain with Ruto until the end, it will not be in overwhelming numbers. He may have the majority of them, but not beyond 60%.
And you say Ruto needs
He
close
needs
to
over 80%. He long went below the threshold for winning the election. The moment he went below 80, the election for him can only be a mirage.
The election for Ruto.
Victory. He can't. The moment he slid below 80%.
Even with Alfred
And there is
Mutua,
nothing to convince me that there will be a super turnout.
which he needs.
I was with Moses Kuria on a show, I think TV24.
Yeah.
Is it K24?
K24.
And I told him, Moses Kuria, you are saying Kikuyus are not interested in power. Yes. Which community was removing people from hospital, carrying patients to go and vote?
We have those photos.
And so you say they are not interested in power. You are kidding, my friend. Let me tell you. With that super interest in power that made Kikuyus remove patients from hospital, carry them on wheelbarrows to go and vote, that made rich men stand at tea room, paying for matatus to go to Nyeri for people, anybody who is going to vote. Without that interest, my friend, the turnout cannot be. So without the turnout, without without the percentage hitting 80, Ruto is cooked. Therefore, he will never win the election.
Even with Alfred Mutua, Kingi, leaders,
Those ones are
Musalia Mudavadi.
Those are small fellows. They don't bring votes. They're inconsequential.
We have to finish this conversation. Until we do have another conversation, political conversation, what is happening within the country, please talk to us through our social media platforms at Jadiel Kabiro, at H Manyora, and have yourself a lovely rest of your day.